I don't know, I think.
God bless him. We need one. Good. Are you in Germany?
Yeah. Well, my brother was stationed over there. I go visit.
Yeah. I haven't been client at all, so I didn't reach out to him.
We were in Schweinfurt. And then we went to Checkpoint Charlie. Then we went to Burlington, which was like 10 hours away.
Oh yeah. We're a team. We're a team.
Rose Capital and Disney. You know, all the spy wars.
Oh, wow. Disney stuff.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah, it should. I mean, I don't know. Just really set. Do it on it. Especially after big things in the intermediate school. We should do that hash raising. No, I can't do that yet. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's why I brought the pack. Can't see that.
My daughter just got a phone.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, so that's, I think that's what we send our kids. Because they start going places on buses and stuff, and it's like, you know, I need to know where you are, so.
Well, that's like, I know you can stay away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was, yes.
When you get to it.
When we get to that, yes, that's what I get to.
Oh, I think it's.
Keep them straight.
It's all the same? It's all the same. Yeah. Take one and pass it down. Yeah.
Okay.
Is this okay? Yeah.
It's not me.
Sounds good.
What's the name?
Chuck.
Oh,
When did they read this?
I think somebody just sent some back. I think he signed up to do it.
Oh, I see, because Chuck was saying, I got you. Yes, so I'm just gonna.
He signed up for it back. I think so.
He'll say something about the legal. I suppose. It's all right.
That means you have to go home.
Oh, yes!
Right, I remember that. All right. That's right, I'm sorry. Of course, that's why that was my first time. You forgot.
I have it.
Coming in during that.
Oh, you have. Hey, we found it.
My dad's 76 and I didn't understand it. I was gonna ask her.
He's trying to steal it.
That was a
Yeah. We're here official.
No.
Wow, for a long time since we had that.
I think it's like.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Like, not about.
Thank you very
I
much.
think we'll finally get October.
I gotta ask her.
We're coming up on a
I know, dude, you're right.
We might actually be able to do all of those.
He's on it now.
But I have to let him know. David reminds me, I know. I've got to say. Hey, anytime. No, they only have two. That's why. Me and John.
Welcome. I'd like to call to order the North Branford Planning and Zoning regular meeting, August 17, 2023 at 6:36. Please join me in saluting the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this point in time, I'd like to introduce the members of the commission seated here today. To my immediate left is Bill Gaudenzi, our vice chair. To his left is Trish Mason, regular member. We have Ron Sienna to her left, he's a regular member, and alternate member sitting far left is Barry Ponder. To my immediate right is Scott Lanza, an alternate member, and our recording secretary for this evening is Janet Crane. And at the administrative table is David Perkins. My name is Robert Nowak. I'm the chairman for the commission this evening. So next order of business we got is hopefully to consider the approval of meeting minutes from October 6th of 2022, May 4th, June 5th, and July 13th. Unfortunately, the October 6th will have to be tabled again unless, Dave, you think we got 2 out of 3? Can we move that to the?
Is it Charles?
It's Chuck.
Chuck,
Yeah.
he's not.
Never gonna get
We need a quorum of 3. We got 2? Fair enough. All right.
Yeah, I don't think we don't have an alternative.
Yeah, we have several like that. So we're going to do October 6th, May 4th, and June 15th. All right, and all of them actually. So
Do you have them in front of you? You can
Yes,
just
I
tell
do.
us as we go. Start with October, just say who is here.
So we
And I
have-
can abstain or.
Yep. October 6th, we have Bill Gondenzi and Ron Sienna and Chuck Rubano.
Okay, so it's Ron and I for that one.
Yep. May 4th is Bill Gondenzi, Chuck Rubano, and Scott Lanza. June 15th is Robert Nowak, Trish Mace, Ron Sienna, Barry Ponder. July 13th, Robert Nowak, Bill Gondenzi, Scott, and Barry. So it looks like we're gonna take care of all our minutes today. Awesome.
Yes.
So take a moment, if you have them, to review the minutes. Let me know if any commission members had any additions, corrections, or adjustments. And when you're ready, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes. I have a copy of October 6th if you want it.
That was Ron and I. I've reviewed it.
Okay.
Several meetings when we were trying to approve them, so I didn't have any comments then, and I don't have any tonight.
Fair enough.
If you're gonna do it one by, should we do it one by one?
That would be a good idea.
Yeah, that's what
Because,
those can abstain that weren't there. Yeah.
right.
So Ron, when you're ready, it's you and I are October 6th.
I motion that we accept the minutes for October 6th.
Do we have a second?
I second it.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Abstained? Motion carries. Okay. Next one is May 4th. Bill, Chuck, and Scott. So when you're ready with that one, I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I'm good.
Yeah, I am too, so I have nothing there. So I make a motion to approve the May 4th, 2023 minutes.
Okay, do you have a second?
I second that.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Abstained. Okay, motion carries. Next one we have is June 15th. We have myself, Trish, Ron, Barry.
I make a motion to accept the June 15th, 2023 meeting minutes.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained?
Abstain.
Okay, motion carries. Awesome. Okay, last but not least is the most recent one is July 13th. Bob, Bill, Scott, Barry. So when you're ready, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for July 13th.
Bob, how many were here on May 4th?
May 4th, I believe there's 3.
Three yea, 3 abstain.
No, one was
No, Chuck.
Charles.
So Chuck,
October and May, Charles
So
was
there's-
one of the ones.
so October and May had only 2.
Yeah.
In attendance, everyone else was abstained.
October.
Yeah, that's right.
October
Yeah.
and May,
Right, so you had, okay.
just 2,
Yeah, October was Ron and me.
yep.
So
May
2
was-
yeas.
May was Scott
one
and I.
for abstain.
Right.
I'll make a motion to approve the July 13th, 2023 minutes.
We have a second?
Second?
Motion second. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
I abstain.
Abstain.
Motion carries. All right, so that takes care of all the minutes. October 6, 2022, that was a hard one to get rid of. Right?
Felt good.
All right, it felt good. So the next item on the agenda is a public hearing and possible action for 3 applications. Before I read into how the public hearing, actually, I'll start right into that. So, going to lay out how we conduct a public hearing. The purpose of the meeting is to hear all pertinent testimony of those in support of and opposition to the applications before the commission. Procedure to follow the public hearing items tonight will be: the public hearing will be opened. Testimony will be heard in the following order: applicant explaining their proposal and project. Second, the staff and commission questions and comments. General public will have the opportunity to speak in support of, in opposition to the request. When addressing the commission, please come up to the microphone. Begin by stating your name and address. When all sides have spoken, the public hearing will be closed. No further public discussion will be entertained. After the public hearing is closed, the commission will vote on the request. Chuck Urbano is our recording secretary, so I asked Barry Ponder to step in for us, and he's going to read for us into the record the public notice.
Notice is hereby given that the North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing at 6:30 p.m. on Thursday, August 17th, 2023, at the North Branford Town Hall, 909 Foxton Road, North Branford, Connecticut, to consider the following. A, application number 2023-8, re-subdivision of property 33 Indian Hill Road to create 1 residential lot with frontage on Middletown Avenue. Owner Joseph Auger, applicant Danielle Auger and Benjamin Rigorodski. Application B, application number 2023-9, zoning map amendment to change the parcel at 730 Forest Road from an R40 zone to B1 zone. Owner, Aniello and Leah Salino. Applicant, Aniello Salino. Application number 2023-10, re-subdivision of property at 254 Parsonage Hill Road to create 1 residential lot with frontage on Village Street. Hashtag Diamond D Estates. Owner, Michael DeHammel and Susan Duty DeHammel. Applicant, James Preddy, P.E., Criscoli Engineering, LLC. At this hearing, all interested persons may appear and be heard, and written communications will be received. Copies of proposals are on file for public inspection in the Town Hall Planning Department. Robert Nowak, Chairman.
Thank you, Barry. So we have 3 public hearings tonight, so what we'll do is we'll do 1 at a time, and if you're interested in listening to all of them, you can stay or leave at your leisure. So the First one on the first public hearing we're going to go with is application 2023-8, 33 Indian Hill Road. Is the applicant here? You step forward and name and address and tell us about your proposal.
My name's Ben Rogrodsky.
Danielle Auger, hi.
Current address is 190 Worcester Street, Unit 27 in New Haven. Proposal to basically carve off a lot off of my in-laws and her parents' land, build a house on it.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be about 150 feet on Middletown Avenue, straight up to the property line, and then just going back, making 1 acre.
Pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Any commission members have any questions or comments for the applicants?
Famous last words. I'm sorry. So famous last words. Seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah. I think we just skip it.
David, I have a question for yourself. Subdivision, since it's not, the property is 33 Indian Hill Road, and this is carving out an access onto Middletown, should the proposal be really for Middletown Avenue, even though it's on, because it's gonna be,
It will end up with an address on Middletown Avenue, but the property, the assessor's map property and pass it on Indian Hill Road. So technically, that's what they're subdividing.
okay. Did you have any concerns?
No, it's straightforward.
Pretty straightforward. Commissioners have any questions or comments?
I think we do have
I'm sorry? Yes.
Victor had something.
a staff report from
Yeah.
the town engineer. You want to read that into it? You want to discuss it?
Have you've seen these, have you seen the comments from Victor Benny?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
Whatever you
Okay, it's to us, that's why you have it. Sometimes he interacts with the applicants and things are resolved and maps are updated. That's why I was asking, I didn't realize this was to us, so, okay. We should just put them as special conditions, right, David?
Yeah.
Just read them in as special conditions when we do the motion.
Okay, fair enough. And we have another one from the Regional Water Authority as well.
Yes.
We want to add that as special condition as well? Those
Yeah, we just
three
say
bullets?
the conditions outlined in the
Yeah.
RWA letter.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Exactly.
Okay.
Actually, both, we'll do it that way for both, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, with that being said, I don't have any questions. Commissioners have any questions, comments? David, you're all set?
We're all set.
Okay. All right, thank you. So what I'll do is, I think we're all set with you folks. We're gonna open up this is a public hearing up for public comment. So if you wanna sit at the table and people can come up to the microphone and ask if they're in favor of or opposed, so.
Just make, you have to address the comments to the commission and not to the applicant, so it's back and forth from the commission to us,
Correct.
the public to us, yeah.
So I'd like to open up the public meeting, hearing to all those in favor of the proposal to subdivide the Auger property. I said it right? Yes. Yes. Anyone in favor of?
Do it.
And you don't, it's only if you want to, there's no.
There's no reason you
Yeah,
don't
there's no
have to.
obligation
No
to do
one's saying
anything.
no, I'm just saying yes, we want
Okay.
that. These are Northford people, and the land staying in Northford, Williams laws.
I think there is no fee in lieu of open space because it's being transferred to a relative.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's good to know.
Okay, very good. All right, with that being said, then I'll do the opposite. Anybody opposed to the proposal today? Any opposition? Any opposition? Hearing none, then I entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I motion we close the public hearing.
We have a motion, we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, or discussion, I should say? No
Nope.
discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Okay, so the public hearing is closed. Do we have any other comments for the couple for the property? Okay. Then hearing none, then I move towards a motion to approve the proposal as submitted. I'll entertain a motion for such.
I'll make a
Oh,
motion.
hold on a second. I apologize. We have a motion.
I was
Can
gonna
I ask
wing
a
it.
question? Is the RWA and the other letters that anything that we need to know
Yeah,
about?
good question.
The,
I mean, oh,
RWA is pretty boilerplate.
Okay.
Yeah.
it's way easier for you guys to
Right,
read it than
yes.
us to read it. You still have to read it.
I think that's the number, say, that's number B. With, conditions to address this and this.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, you know.
No, one yes,
Yeah,
one
these
not
two.
included.
Yep.
All right, I make a motion to approve PZC application 2023-8, 33 Indian Hill Road, re-subdivision creation of one residential lot with frontage on Middletown Avenue, assessor map 56B, lot 55, R40 zone, owner Joseph Auger Family Farm LLC, applicant Danielle Auger and Benjamin Ridrosky. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Nice job.
Terrible.
As
That's why
described.
we have.
Well, I mean, he did say it.
That's why you
but I
do the
didn't make
motion,
sense.
it's not us.
As described in the submitted application and submitted application documents and shown on plans entitled portion of 33 Indian Hill Road, M56B, B55, Northford, Connecticut, dated June 2023. And then the other document is preliminary site plan dated June 2023. With the following conditions.
Ooh.
There's a lot. Don't worry, I don't have to read them, everybody,
No,
just the
you don't.
numbers.
Yeah, just the numbers.
1A, 1B, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 14, 18, 20, and special conditions
as outlined in the.
as
Yeah, or-
outlined in the memorandum from our town engineer dated August 7, 2023, and as outlined in the memo from Regional Water Authority dated July 25th, 2023.
Okay, we have a
There's
motion.
no fee in lieu of open space due to the fact that the transfers between family members.
Is that a condition or that's just a fact?
That's a condition.
Oh, okay, and add the condition of there's no fee in lieu of open space.
Because it's a transfer to the
But
family
it's a
member.
transfer to a family member.
Yep, good. I second that.
Okay, we have motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Nah, that's good. We got it.
Okay, next item on the public hearing agenda, we have application 2023-9 zoning map amendment 730 Forest Road. Let me see, the applicant is coming forward.
For the record, Brian Panico with Harry Collins on 876 South Main Street in Plantsville, here on behalf of the applicant Neil Salino. Parcels at 730 Forest Road, and currently an R40 residential zone. Property abuts or has frontage on Forest Road, also known as Route 22, which is an arterial connecting Northford and North Branford, which everybody here knows. Parcel is 2.86 acres. It also has frontage on Totucket Road. Proposals to change this parcel from an R40 zone to a B1 zone, this will formalize the historic use of the parcel. Since its development, it's been commercial property, first a hall, then a banquet facility, banquet hall, restaurant, until it went burned down and now has sat vacant for many years. Mr. Salino would like to continue, and I believe actually this commission had granted him he was allowed to use this parcel commercially. That's a variance with the land, that follows the lands, correct?
Similar use.
Similar
It's a
use.
non-conforming, yeah.
Correct. So it limits what he can do with the
Yes.
property, but allows him to continue to use it as a commercial piece, since that's what it was. What we would like to do is change the zone to a B1 zone to allow more variety of use, to hopefully find something that both this commission and Mr. Salino feel would be best suited in the town. I just want to be very clear so that everybody in the public knows, because I know a couple of questions already came up. This is just the hearing for the actual zone change. Once the zone is changed, we will have to come back before both this commission and the Inland Wetlands Commission with an actual fully developed site plan for the actual parcel. That means that any concerns about the wetlands on the site, the farm river, the distance to the farm river, all of those things, those would be wetlands related, and those would come up during that meeting process. And then any direct site plan related issues would come up in that process. So while Mr. Salino and we've presented and submitted a conceptual plan for contractor storage after meetings with the applicant and town staff, we felt that that was something that was needed in town, not enough of it in town, and that would be a good fit for the site. But again, that's not particularly what's being asked tonight at tonight's meeting. Tonight's meeting is just specifically to formalize the zone change to the B1 zone from an R40 zone, as the property's been used that way in the past. Just to touch base on some of the plan of conservation and development notes. Currently, town of North Branford has 1.6% of its total land area as commercial. So we are dramatically under what we probably should be, limiting our tax base to almost solely residential property. This is not the only parcel on Forest Road, much less in the town. When the zoning was created, it was essentially was just blanket zoned. So regardless of how parcels and properties were being used, if most of it was residential, everything became residential. This is apparent when you kind of go through and drive down town roads. You could see quite a number of commercial uses that are, when you look at the GIS and at the actual zoning, are technically residential zones. Plan of conservation and development is also very clear. I will quote, provide zoning incentives to encourage the consolidation of small or non-conforming lots that could be allowed to then become commercial. Consider zoning provisions and incentives to upgrade older commercial properties which may be non-conforming. So I think the idea is that older properties which have been commercially zoned and are not in a commercial zone, the idea is that we should put them into commercial zones so that they can then be used and utilized to their highest potential or their highest and best use, which is something that is much sought after and falls on this commission as well as the planner and other town staff. If anybody has any questions about the application, be happy to answer those. Otherwise, public questions as well.
Just a quick question.
Yep.
You quoted from the Plan of Economic Development?
Yeah.
Conservation and development, yes.
Conservation,
Fuse.
okay. Different document.
Yeah,
Correct.
our document.
Correct.
I think he mentioned it just for the commission's benefit. This is, despite what he said about contractor storage, yeah, I know you were just conceptualizing. This is about a text amendment to change it from R40 to B1, period. It could be anything within the B1 zone.
Correct.
So make sure you understand that.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, I know.
What I'm referring to is the fact
No, I know.
that the Plan for Economic Development in North Branford
They
states,
can't hear you. Can you pull the mic?
the Plan for Economic Development says that there shouldn't be any businesses on Forest Road. I thought that was interesting and I read it a second time, but I don't have the document in front of me, and that's not a game changer or a holding point for me. I just wanted to make sure we were quoting the same documents.
The economic development document?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're
Which I'm
not
not familiar
referring
with
to
that.
the POCD?
Yeah, no, I'm surprised by that, because that's a,
Yeah.
I did read that, so it's,
Yeah.
but that's not a game changer for me. I
Yeah.
agree we
Yeah,
need,
and I mean, our plan of conservation, you accurately stated it. We do look at, like, not consolidated B1 sprinkled around, and if there's a way to change zoning to consolidate all those. This is a bit different, because it's kind of an island onto its own.
correct.
So
Our
it's not
thought,
exactly, because we were part of that.
yeah,
development of that.
and our thought process is with the proximity to the village center, the Northford Village Center District, it's almost it's like an expansion. Obviously, there's that large stretch where the cemetery is that breaks all of that up. But it being, Route 22, Connecticut Road, that's certainly capable of the traffic. We feel it would be the best,
I just want
highest
to
and
make
best
sure
use.
we're all clear with
Yep.
what you're saying and what the document actually says.
Yep.
Any other questions or concerns of the applicant? David, do you have anything
I
that
have,
we want to?
I had a
Go for it.
staff report that evidently didn't go out in your package, so
Okay,
I can quickly read it if you want.
that would be wonderful.
The 730 Forest Road is a 2.86 acre lot located in the R40 zone of North Branford. Petitioners wish to change the zoning to B1. The minimum lot size in the B1 zone is 40,000 square feet. The lot could theoretically be divided up into 3 lots and can therefore be considered a zone. The zone change would be consistent with the comprehensive plan. The POCD states on page 95 that the P&Z Commission should, quote, consider zoning regulation provisions and incentives to upgrade older commercial properties which may be non-conforming. The zoning regulations in section 5.1 state that the non-conforming use of land and structures should be changed to conformity as soon as possible. The subject site has been zoned residential since the advent of zoning. It appears that the site was mined prior to its use as a VFW and a commercial restaurant. The last structure on the site burned, and the site is set vacant for many years. The site has never contained a residential use. The petitioner could apply for a use variance to use the property as they desire. However, a use variance can only be issued if, quote, the subject parcel of land cannot be reasonably developed for any permitted use within the district in which it is located because of reason particular to the parcel in question and not applicable to the area as a whole. Clearly, a use variance cannot be issued since the lot could be developed as a residential use. The lot could still be used as a commercial restaurant or as a meeting hall, even though the building has been removed and the use suspended. A pre-existing non-conforming use can only be terminated when abandoned by the owner. Abandoned in this case means a purposeful act abandoning the use. Rezoning this parcel is not spot zoning, as the lot is 3 times the minimum lot size of both the B1 and R40 zone, and it is in conformance with the comprehensive plan and the POCD.
Who's that from?
Can you, because I wasn't sure of the definition of spot zone, so you're saying it's not because it's 3 times the size of R40?
Correct. If it's not a small lot and it is in conformance with the comprehensive plan, then it's no longer a spot zone. Spot zoning really has been eliminated by the courts over the last 20 years.
Gotcha. Thank you. Do you have copies of that, or is it
I
just?
do.
Yeah, that would be good to have a copy of that, please.
Any other questions from the commissioners? You guys?
Thank you. Are there any other comments from the staff, or is it just?
The only other one
I
is
have
from the Regional Water
one
Authority.
letter from the public that I can read when you open it to the public, or I can read it now.
You can share one.
When we open the public hearing,
Yeah,
you
sure.
can do that? That'd be great. The only other condition is from the Regional Water Authority, similar to the previous applicant.
Right.
That'll be another condition for our motion. With that being said, I'd like to open up the public hearing for those in favor of the proposal in front of us today. In favor of the proposal? Anyone in favor of the proposal? Hearing none, then I'm going to move towards those who are opposed to the proposal for my R40 zone change to a B1. Come forward, your name and address, and the microphone. Please come up to the microphone for the record.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Janet Dauber. I live at 733 Forest Road, right across the street from this property. And I want to say this, I have no problem. I appreciate you want to build there, but this is a R40. And it is surrounded, as you know, by your maps, that it is all residential area. And I don't really care what you put in there, but we don't want to see a commercial. It changed from a B1 to a commercial, am I correct by that?
No, it's going from the application is for R40 to D1.
Yes, isn't B1 basically a commercial type lot?
There is a separate commercial zone, I believe, or industrial zone.
Well, it does have different.
It's a business.
This is business.
Okay, does it have different decibel allowance, different, obviously if you're changing it from a building area where a person puts a home in, it is different, am I correct?
Yes, a B1
All right,
is.
so I do have a petition from people in the area opposing it. Now, you did talk about, it's very hard to hear back there. Yes, at one time, that land was donated to the VFW to build something. The VFW was there for years, it's true. They used to have a little bar area. It was very small. As you know, someone embezzled from there. It was taken over by the Masons, who rented it out, in and out. There'd be weddings there, parties outside, motorcycles. You have to understand, you can come in my driveway at 5 and try to get out of our driveways. There's a lot of traffic on that road. If you've driven on the roads, whether the highway, Route 22, people drive like maniacs. Trucks come down that road very quickly, large trucks, dump trucks. They come this way. I'm amazed that we haven't had more accidents on that road. It's very busy. And again, there are houses right behind where the VFW was at one time. Yes, it was a Motto's. It became another restaurant. Again, you've got people coming in and out. That is a bad area to come in and out and churn at certain times of the day, right or left, to get out of there. It's a busy road. So you need to understand that. And I also am hesitant, you're putting a business in the middle of the whole area. If you look on your map, I have one, it's all residential. Do you really think that that's a right? You've got the river there. You're gonna have to go through a lot of hoops. You've got the Farm River. And if you plan on putting if I'm correct, did you want to put a building there for repairing trucks? Repairing trucks? Now you gotta worry about the fluids that doesn't go in the river. I mean, I can think of all kinds of things. EVs, if you end up having to be forced into that, they start on fire. And they toxic fumes. I mean, you have to think about all, and those are people, there's houses. You drive down, Ann over there is right across next to it. There's houses right there, and then we're across the street by the river. I just want you to keep in mind of go there and look at what you're doing. What could be potential that, I'm sorry. You could build a house there, but you don't want the zone change. And that's what we're here for. And that's why. So here's, who do I hand this to? Do you have any questions on me?
Come in.
Questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Anybody else who wants to speak in opposition to the proposal today?
Bill Savastano, Sunnyside Drive.
Quite simply, keep it R40, residential. Thank you.
What was
Can
your
I have your
address,
last
sir?
name again, sir?
Yeah,
Sunnyside Drive,
74?
And what's your last-
43,
Last name,
Savastano.
got it. Thank
Spell
you.
it?
Good, thank you.
43, 77.
Anyone else who wants to speak in opposition to the proposal? Sir?
Chris-Ann Vogt, 240 Forest Road in Northford. I also oppose it. I think it should remain residential due to, yes, the traffic is horrendous. It's hard enough pulling out onto Toket, let alone trying to pull out of that small driveway, which I understand would be reworked. And the proximity to the river, above all. There's no place for a large business there. Thank you.
Can I have your last name again?
Vogt, V-O-G-T.
Thank you.
Sir, would you like to come up? Yeah, you raise your hand. Come on up. State your name and address for us, for the record.
Dave Dahlberg, 733 Forest Road. My wife was talking about the traffic and everything. Remind yourselves, you have Tucket Road coming out, 2-lane traffic with people coming and going. When it was Amato's, people looking for the place, you're in the middle of a residential area, set back, they drive past the driveway to pull into our driveway to turn around. People were also brake checking, squealing of brakes for people at the last minute trying to pull into the property. And it's just crazyville. And it's even worse at night. Secondly, change the subject. Originally, it was built by the VFW for their town club that used to be up in the center of Northford. They pooled their money. The gentleman on the hilltop donated that land to the VFW. VFW, a civic-minded organization, had the rental hall that people could use for showers, family events. It was really at a minimal charge. It was very affordable and very good for the community. They ran into financial difficulties, and the Masons moved in. And again, it continued to be a civic-minded. The hall was still available for the townsfolks and anybody. And it was both well-run organizations, great neighbors. Sorry to have seen them go. But when the pizza place came in, that's when it went crazy. Outside events, live bands, endless supply of motorcycles, and they were not good neighbors. They didn't settle down at 10 o'clock like everybody else. We complained, and I'm sure other people complained, but to no avail.
Please,
And
it's hard to hear
it's-
one person when everyone's talking.
I'm sorry?
Go ahead.
No.
There's just some people talking behind you.
Yeah,
Please try
go
to
ahead.
refrain from that because it's hard for us to hear because there's a big echo. Thank you.
Well, I can't hear back there either.
Go ahead. You're good. Go ahead.
But it just got out of control. And I don't want the same position for the neighbors that did sign. I only went to the perimeter properties and got signatures, 10 houses. And it's unfair. It's a residential area, not commercial or other commercial properties there. Any questions from anyone that I can explain?
Did a great
Thank
job.
you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to sign the petition? Thank you.
Anyone else in opposition who would like to contribute to the discussion? Anyone else?
Do you entertain comments and questions, be they not for or against?
Sure.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Name and address for us, please.
My name is Lindsay Suter. I'm at 16 Mill Road. We're in Northford, but the mailbox is in North Branford, so technically it's North Branford. I just wanted to ask and make sure that there were other town documents that were consulted and before you make a decision here. Most notably, and forgive me, I can't remember the exact name of the document, but I believe it's the Farm River Management Plan. Does that ring a bell with you, David? It was something that was, okay, great. With the interest of the Farm River in mind, I'm sure that has bearing on this site because unfortunately, you don't even see the river on these drawings here. It's right by the Farm River where it passes underneath Route 22. And the river's been degraded little by little over the years. Since I'm privileged to be right next to it, I've seen the degradation with my own eyes for the last 24 years. And a lot of people are spending a lot of time and effort and goodwill on cleaning up the river and preventing runoff from going into it, both from a chemical nature, turbidity, all sorts of other things. Remember, we drink this water. There's a diversion dam just below us that puts this water into Lake Saltonstall and the Regional Water Authority, when it gets a little bit low. So this is really important stuff. A number of institutions have just spent $500,000 on a fish ladder so that the spawning and then the resident fish species can thrive in the river. I am personally spending a great deal of time, and to my wife's chagrin, too much, trying to keep the pond clean of invasive species and this sort of thing. So there are a lot of people trying really hard to keep the river healthy. It must have bearing on this decision. Residential is not, haloed for this. There are certain problems associated with residential lots close to a river. But business, generally speaking, business and commerce is a little bit more difficult to regulate and prevent contamination. So I hope that comes into your, your thought process as you make the decision.
So I have a question for you.
Please.
Aren't there more restrictions on affluent leaving private property to get into any estuary, any river?
There are indeed. We don't have all night. I can talk your ear off about this stuff. but there's some pros and cons of each, and the type and nature of it. Does somebody use pesticides on their lawn or not? Are cars or trucks being serviced? And the dripping from those things on a hardscape, which doesn't soak into the ground, it runs off directly into the river. They're pros and cons.
I have to stop you right there. So
Yeah.
I disagree with that statement. It doesn't run off into the river.
Well,
Not the three.
This is a lot, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I just,
We'll go, move on.
no, I'm sorry.
ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you're right. This is philosophical, not philosophical, but
Or
there
we
are.
can talk about that during our discussion.
Yes.
No, I think the point is, yeah.
Understand your point.
I think if it was to change, any zoning application that came before us for a site plan would go through inland wetlands, and there's a 200 setback from the Farm River. There'd be a lot of discussion along these lines, but we're not there yet. We're just looking at, is it a change or not?
Thank you. Thank you.
Good?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else who wants to speak in opposition to?
Bill Savastano, Sunnyside Drive. Still in opposition, but going back a couple of years, there was a zone change right down the road. That good to go in that area in there. And I remember the hearing at that time. I thought part of the process was to explain to the people what actually goes in a B zone. How many different types of B could you go in a B zone? Again, it was a little tough to hear back there. Did anybody explain that, or how many different businesses?
We have not gone through the list of allowable uses in a B1, but typically it's restaurants, retail.
Yeah. Okay, well, my only point is maybe it would be helpful to know what the list is. Thank you.
Anyone else? Do we want to have that conversation about B1 zones?
I think we want to, I mean, you all will hear it too, but certainly we need.
I think I want to read this letter from Doreen Iannati.
Thank you.
Okay.
I am writing because I am strongly against the proposed zoning change. I live directly to the side and have a small child and do not want noise, music, or other entertainment beside my house. I moved to the country to have a country atmosphere, and this does not align with the country living I moved to Northford for peace and quiet. Please do not approve the zoning changes that directly affects many people's lives that live nearby. Doreen Iannati.
Iannati. What's her address?
She doesn't have it.
She doesn't have one?
Dave, did you want to read the other one as well that you handed out to us, or does any commissioner want to read it?
I think you read it.
Not that, was that the same one?
There was one.
There was that's not the same as,
Oh.
right? That was a lot shorter than this one that you handed
You
to
have a
us.
shorter one we can discuss after you close the public hearing.
Okay. So, one more time, anybody wants to speak in opposition to it? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I make a motion to close the public hearing for application 2023-9.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion of a second. Discussion. I think this discussion is what's in the B1,
Yes.
right?
Well, the discussion
Well,
to close the public hearing, right?
Oh, sorry. my bad.
Oh, we have to vote on that.
Yes,
Yeah,
we'll do
then
that.
we
So,
discuss.
any discussion in closing the public hearing? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Public hearing is closed. Now we open up for discussion before I say that, I want to give the opportunity to the applicants to rebut what you've heard from the public.
Yeah, so we just had a couple of kind of thoughts, comments, questions. Just to clarify, we talked about this site and its use and its current state and what it can and potentially still be used for as a commercial development. So hearing a lot of the concern about, noise, hearing a lot of concern about traffic, hearing a lot of concern about how unfortunate of neighbors the former pizza restaurant was. I just want to make it very clear that if the applicant wanted to tomorrow, could the applicant not build that exact same building and do the exact same thing in that building that he did? With very little change, with almost no, does he have to go back before site plan review, or
You'd have to go back for.
with just site plan review? So because of the building as it was, and because of the use as it was for so long, that could be done. I believe very strongly that the applicant is looking for the highest and best use of this property. Mr. Salino, would you build a house there? As probably not. It would be more valuable as another restaurant than a house. So I think that unfortunately, what we're trying to kind of portray here is that there are other uses that we feel are better uses for both the community and the neighbors than another restaurant that would hopefully be much less of a nuisance. I also want to clarify that there are, again, it's been brought up, quite a number of steps beyond this, as members of the public have mentioned. Yes, 200-foot farm river upland review area, wetlands on the site. We'll be going to wetlands to discuss all of that. Depending on what the use is, We will then be at wetlands, putting in mitigation measures to protect the river, to protect the wetlands, to look at all of the potential pollutant sources and correct that prior to anything getting off-site. So just like any site plan, if I want to build a auto repair facility next to a river, DEP is going to be very interested to know what's going into my floor drains, how all that's being handled, and that's all stuff that's going to come up during site plan and further meetings, not this stage that we're at now. Same with Regional Water Authority. Haven't really gotten anything from Regional Water Authority, nor should we. This is a very blanket application right now, not quite at that point. But certainly, as we move through this process, we would be following all of those guidelines and listening to all of that information. So again, understanding a lot of these concerns, but also wanting everybody to understand that, you know, no change, that not zone changing this doesn't necessarily mean that nothing's going to happen to it. And I don't think that anybody necessarily wants to see nothing happen to it and have it just be a, you know, empty vacant site. An empty vacant site also means a lot of dumping. Also means it's a place for, you know, people to congregate and not do things they're supposed to do. You could dump your trash there, nobody's gonna know. It's hard to start throwing trash in a property when you have somebody who's managing it, taking care of it, paying attention to it, all of which trash could end up in the Farm River. So there's a pros and cons to everything. We feel that this, again, not only is the highest and best use for the site, but also provides for probably something a little more valuable than another pizza restaurant in the town of North Branford. I don't think we necessarily need any more. And maybe we could find something else that would fit into a B1 zone that would better serve the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Councilor. My name's Neil. I feel like there's like a lot of concerns about the past restaurants. I'm actually trying to don't want to do another restaurant. So I feel like there's more concerns besides the mechanic spilling oil, which I never had intention of having a mechanic shop there. But I feel like the people are not for it. I feel like I'm on the same page. I don't want to do another restaurant. I don't want nightlife. I want something, maybe a business at 3, 4, maybe 5 o'clock it's over. So it is quiet at nighttime. So I think they're misunderstanding what I want to do there. So not sure, you know, we should explain more. Like I mentioned, they heard nightlife and.
The public hearing's closed, so yeah, just
okay.
You can address.
All right, so that's why I would just want to say that. That's all.
Just give us your name and address.
Neil Salino, 58 Wood Chase Lane, North Branford.
Thank you, Neil.
Or the address of the property.
So I would like to clarify, because I was here when they did when they bought that and made it, I think, a box, or what I think it was them. So anyway, I recall, one thing, just to clarify, you can't expand a non-conforming use, so you'd have to be within the same footprint of that existing approval, right? I recall that. I recall that, but I don't know if you know, we'd have to look at that. Because my understanding is, I know you cannot expand you can intensify but not expand.
Exactly.
So you can't go from this footprint here and say, okay, well, if that's all it can be, we're gonna make it 3 times the size. That cannot be done.
Correct.
Because it's a non-conforming use. So you're locked into the original approval of that.
Correct.
You can intensify but not expand, and I believe it's to the original footprint of the building. So I just want all of us to realize that.
How did it go from a VFW or the Mason home to a restaurant?
Same foundation.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Same
that's-
foundation. Yeah.
The use,
Did they have to come to us for permission? How did the use?
I don't know. I don't have any
Were you there?
documentation.
Yeah, I think when it came for bots, it was made clear it had to be the same foundation, and you could because it was generally used the same. It was a kitchen with a hall, so it went from a hall with a small kitchen to a restaurant with a catering hall.
But it wasn't really a restaurant ever. It was more catering.
A bots was a pizza restaurant, right? Oh, pizza, right. The bottom part. But it was in the same, so you weren't expanding the use. using it for what it generally was, the same footprint, so. If it was not to change, it would have to be within those same guidelines. It couldn't, just so everyone knows, it's not gonna become this, they can't make it 3 times the size, they can't double it. And it has to be generally in the same use. You can't change it to something much different than what it was.
You can intensify it, as you were saying.
Intensify.
So intensifying it would be, you know, you were serving 3 types of beer, now you're serving 6 types of beer. That's an intensification.
Was it documented somewhere what the use currently is?
I think we can find that, yeah. It definitely documents what the building looked like and the square footage and, but they have nobody has any intention of doing that at this point.
So is his proposal still valid with the statement that Bill just said, that he can't make it any bigger?
You could rebuild the building to the same footprint and offer the same size hall and.
That ruling, that judgment is for any non-conforming use, it's not just this. It's a non-conforming use, so you can't expand non-conforming uses. You can intensify them, but you can't expand them.
What does intensify mean?
Like, within the same footprint, you can have 6 beers instead of 3 or something.
Oh.
As an example.
I thought you said you cannot.
But you can't like take the footprint and say, we're gonna double the footprint.
Oh, okay.
So,
That's
for
expanding the
example,
use.
if I could ask, so for example, it's been made clear it had a little bar in it. The original VFW, the original hall, the restaurant, all had a bar in it. If applicant so wanted, could the applicant then go and rebuild the same 2-story building and make the entire thing a bar? Because technically, that's the same use, and it's just being intensified.
Maybe we have to see what the use is.
Yeah,
I mean, just to throw it out there so that everybody's clear, you know, what we're trying to say here is, we're not saying that, you know, he could technically build a building that's the size of the parcel or that's 3 times the size. He could rebuild the building exactly the same size, use it as a pizza restaurant, a bar, and a banquet facility, and all of those things, because that's what's allowed in the, per the current regulations and per the actually, the variance that was granted to him.
Yes.
Do we want to go through what could be in a B1?
I don't know if that matters now.
For us?
I don't know what he's gonna do.
I'd like to hear.
Does that change that's a game changer for you guys, is it not?
No, that's not for them. That's for us to understand, because, I mean, to be clear, as everyone knows, if it changes to B1, doesn't matter what they think it's gonna be or say it's gonna be. It can be anything within B1, so to have that understanding would be important for us.
So the nonconformity goes away? I'm confused.
So once it's,
If we have a zone change,
Once you change it.
if we change to B1, it's whatever is allowed in B1 is allowed in it.
Also, the goal isn't to just blanket all through town, you take non-conforming and make it conforming, like, there's many pieces to the puzzle. But B1, I'm assuming the ones I should not read are the ones with X's, everything else could go in B1, correct?
Right.
All right, so I'm not gonna do residential and related uses, because it's residential.
and can we also just for clarity's sake, when we're reading them out, if it's a special permit or something that would require this commission's approval, mention that?
Sure, I'll say the
because-
letters, and Dave's gonna get my back.
Just make sure that we realize that the public hearings closed.
Close. I'm gonna make a statement and then we can continue, but I think I'm gonna eventually get to the point where I think we should continue this, because I wanna see the POCD, number 1. And then maybe we have you extract this and put it in front of us, so it's very clear in a summary. Okay, B1, this is all the uses within B1, our POC clearly says this, because I'm gonna take time, I need time to read your memo, so I don't wanna go quickly to a decision when there's a lot of information here. I think we should take our time and understand this. Maybe you can summarize it for us to help us. So next time, and you could read that, but I would also I would like for it to be in front of me and have time to see it and digest it and think about it. I really want to see the POCD, because my understanding, I know how you read,
The
but
Farmant River.
yeah, we definitely want to join separated B1s.
Yeah.
Like on Route 80, we had these situations.
but
It was
not
like
all.
many B1s with a couple residential. There, it makes absolute sense, but I didn't know our POCD said any non-conforming somewhere we want to try to make it.
Would you like
I
us
think we
to
just need to understand that a little better. I do, I know, so.
All right, I will try my best to
So
lump them.
So in the essence of time, Bill made a proposal to table this discussion so we gather more information.
We can still have
and
discussion, but
postpone
I
this,
think, yeah.
Continue this at the next meeting. Go ahead, Bill.
Before we do that,
I'm sorry. Yes, Ron.
I'd like Trish to read just a couple of things that are
Sure.
included in B1. Not the included, not the total list,
Yeah.
but some items that are
I'll try to
B1.
categorize.
If I'm thinking, I heard the word commercial. Commercial could be, open trap rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
A transfer
Restaurants,
station.
retail.
But what is a B1? Is it a doctor's office?
It could, so I'll try to, so it could be places of worship, cemetery, any type of daycare homes, families, group, child, adult daycare, a day camp, club, golf, tennis, swimming clubs, B1, golf course, driving range, hospitals, public utility, school stuff, flea markets, stores, retails, business professional offices. There's a line, I just have to say this one because there's a line for undertakers establishments, veterinary hospitals, restaurants, hotels, motels. You got it. What do we got? Indoor theaters, bowling alleys, amusement centers, recreation, oh, that's not. Motor vehicle service stations, a bunch of stuff on motor vehicles. Painting, plumbing, I guess that could go under manufacturing. Painting, printing, warehousing, freight materials, trucking businesses, lumber and building material yards, building contractors' yards, manufacturing, research laboratories, rights of way for railroads, personal drop-off, dry cleaning, laundromats, earth excavation, removal, filling. So that's usually, I try to categorize as much. There were a lot of singles, but. I mean, that's something to consider in our decision-making is because Neil's not the guaranteed owner for life. The property sells and it's somebody else, they can do any one of those things. It's not as easy of a decision as going, oh, not conforming to conforming. It's all of this as well that we have to consider.
Okay, with that being said, anybody else have other comments?
I question, and just with the spot zoning, I only don't agree based on experience on the commission. You just made a statement that's like, oh, it's a moot point, but as long as I've been on the commission, spot zoning has always been supported, both other decisions we've made and even with the lawyers we've worked with. So that's news to me, and I don't know how much I'm gonna, say, oh, okay, you're just blanket right, because since I've been on, I don't know, going on 6 or 7 years now, that's always been something we've been very careful about, and it has influenced other decisions we've made.
So I don't know if anyone, Robert reiterated,
There's a
I
lot
was
to go
just
over.
proposing we continue
Yeah.
our discussion, and maybe we just ask Robert to just make a copy of that table for us, and then if you don't mind, maybe pulling those specific languages from our POCD, and we should also read it ourselves, those sections. to understand, because that's that's why we develop it, right? It helps us guide us in these decisions, so we should be at least understanding what it says. We don't have to necessarily blanket follow it all the time, but we should use it as guidance. So I would suggest we have it in front of us, because unfortunately I don't have it in front of me right now, so.
Okay.
What about other plans, the one you quoted? You meant, is there a separate economic development plan in addition to the POCD that you referenced?
Well, let's let, I think the idea at this point in time is, how does the commission feel about tabling or continuing this discussion?
Oh,
Right.
Right, that's where we're at right now instead of.
yeah, I didn't know at what point we want to say checklist of
I
X,
think
Y, Z.
we're at that point.
Okay.
Bill made some great points. David's got some homework for us. One of the items would be what Ron had stated about an Economic Development Commission
Yeah.
on Forest Road. So with that being said, I'll entertain a motion to continue this application till next meeting,
September 7th.
September 7th.
The only thing before we say, is there any time considerations, or are we fine with continuing?
Oh, we're fine.
We're fine, right? We're within, 35 days or whatever, yeah. Okay, good. Okay, sorry, Robert.
No, you're good. I'm just waiting for a motion.
Make a motion to table and to continue the discussion on application 2023-9 for the regular meeting on September 7th, 2023.
We have a motion. We have a second?
Second it.
Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. All in paperwork.
Yeah.
Ryan, can I have the company who worked with you on the car? What is it?
Keep your paperwork, everyone.
Oh,
Save a tree.
and what is it? Engineers?
I don't need another big packet.
Yeah.
I'm good.
All right, next item on the agenda, public hearing, one more for application 2023-10, 254 Parsonage Hill Road, R40 zone. Is the applicant here? Nice to see you again.
Good evening. Jim Preddy, Criscolo Engineering, 420 East Main Street in Branford, representing Mike Duhamel. So this, the property is on the corner of Village and Middletown Avenue. There's livestock there now. There's a house here that exists. What they're looking to do is recarve a single-family lot out for Mike's son, who's also here. There had been, when they bought the property, originally, they had gotten approval for 3 building lots here. One was the house that's there now, and 2 additional lots here, and then the commercial piece that was cut off that's on Middletown Avenue. After they purchased the property and started using it for farming, they realized that they didn't have the need for the lots at that time, so they recombined them in so that they weren't paying taxes on building lots that they weren't going to use. So fast forward to today, my son would like to build a house, so they're looking at this, and it's the same dimensions, same location, everything's the same. We've already re-vetted this through the health department, they've signed off on it. So we're basically just looking to get a lot back that they had 20 years ago.
Right. Okay.
And it's about 40,000 square feet, so it's just a 1 acre lot, just over 40,000. Yeah.
That was interesting. I was wondering why there was 3, then back to just 2.
Yes, yeah, so the use was, they used it for farming. If you go by there, you can see what goes on there. So there wasn't a need at the time for the building lots. That they had done their due diligence at the beginning when they bought the property. But decided to combine it. And then this other piece that this is just on here because we were making a map for this, but part of this will be cut off and added to his other property that was part of that. But no new building lots, just basically a lot line change.
Thanks, Jim. I was wondering why that was on the map.
Yeah,
from
we
previous map.
we can only file so many maps, land records. Try to do it as much as we can on the same map.
Our engineer, do you have a copy of the
I do
comments?
not.
Just some exceptions that we'll put into the motion. Any commission members have any questions for the applicant on the proposal?
Are there any street trees or trees on the lot?
No, there are not currently, no.
So there should be some street trees and
Sure, that's something we could do with when we put the lot together, the plan together for the new house, yes.
when we get to the zoning permit?
Yes.
and the street trees?
Sure. And these other comments as well.
Are sidewalks part of our subdivision requirement?
Yeah.
And then we would waive it. I would propose we waive it, because, but is it a standard?
The sidewalk?
Sidewalks, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, we should wait,
Yeah.
it's at the top of the.
Oh, it is, okay, I'm sorry. Oh, it is, I didn't see the motion,
Yeah,
I just
there's
say.
a plan and concrete curbing. So.
Yeah, okay, gotcha, good. Got it.
Any questions, comments for the applicant? Any comments from you, Dave?
No,
Regarding
just the
Victor's.
possible street trees, but we can deal with that on the.
I guess the other thing we should, I don't know if it's on there or not, but because it's a family transfer, the fee in lieu of open space isn't an issue as well.
Right, okay. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
So with that being said, is there anybody in the audience who would like to support the proposal to divide the property? Anybody want to speak about it?
I guess I'll open my mouth again.
Well, can you come up to the mic? You gotta come up to the mic.
Second time you
This
can't
isn't
do it
school.
from your
This
chair.
is
You
in
got to
class.
come to the microphone this time.
William Saul, 739 Forest Road, one parcel. It's another father giving his child a piece of land, build a house. I don't see how you could say no.
Thank you.
He has the land and he can do it, right?
So you're in support of it, I take it?
Yes.
I just wanted to be clear with that. All right, I got you. Thank you. Anybody else who want to come up and speak in favor of? Hearing none, then anybody here who wants to oppose the proposal? At your own risk, I'd have to say.
Not from the applicant either.
Not from the applicant. Especially not from the applicant. So with that being said, I'll entertain a motion if there's anybody else who wants to say anything about it. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I make a motion to close public hearing, application 2023-10.
We have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Public hearing's closed. Anything else you want to add, Jim?
No, I think it's pretty
Want to counter what he had to say?
Absolutely not.
Want to sing the song I was
Absolutely,
referencing?
good choice. Very smart move on your part.
Music.
With that being said, I'll entertain a motion.
I don't know what order I should do
There you
it in,
go.
but I will do it in the order on the paper. I move to waive the subdivision requirements of sidewalks and curbing, and I move to approve PZC application 2023-10, 254 Parsonage Hill Road, Diamond D Estates, re-subdivision, creation of one residential lot, assessor map 56A, lot 10, R40 zone, owner Michael Duhamel and Susan Duhamel, applicant James Preddy, Criscolo Engineering, as described in the submitted application documents and shown on plans entitled Property Located at 254 Parsonage Hill Road, North Branford, Connecticut, prepared by Criscolo Engineering with the following sheets. The first sheet is proposed re-subdivision map dated July 6, 2023. The next sheet is possible new lot on site, wastewater disposal system plan for lot division dated July 6, 2023. And the last one is record subdivision map, Diamond D Estates, dated September 19, 2012. With the following conditions: 1A, B, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 14, 18, and special conditions. There needs to be no fee in lieu of open space because it's being transferred to a relative, and the special conditions contained in the memo from our town engineer dated August 8th, 2023, and whatever he put in there.
Nice.
Do we want to add, do we already incorporate these? Oh, you did. 1, 2, 3, 4.
The engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just put whatever's in his memo as a special condition.
And no fee in lieu of.
Yep, I put that.
Okay. I second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the proposal, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? The motion carries. Congratulations.
Hey, neighbor. Barry, just like that.
No. Next item on the agenda is old business. We don't have any. So we'll move on to new business, and new business is updated P&Z Commission bylaws.
So I think we just need to vote on them. The way they were presented last week, we had to wait 30 days from when we accepted them to vote on them.
Bylaws?
Okay, the bylaws. Yep.
Give the champagne, right, 'cause this is from 77.
1970, in what, March of 23, January we started? That's not bad.
Not at all.
So with that being said, I'll entertain a motion to approve the revised bylaws of the Planning and Zoning Commission of the Town of North Branford dated August 17, 2023.
I make a motion to approve the revised bylaws.
We have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion, we have a second, any discussion? I think the only discussion that I would like to add is that we get a hard copy of it. Of the pretty, what it looks like, in our emails. That's all I want to add to that, so we
Well,
have it,
and
each of us.
thank you for you, because you did most of the
Yeah.
work, and that's a lot of
Lot of
brain resources and
brain
time
power.
and all that, yeah, so thank you.
Yeah,
You're very welcome.
definitely, thank you.
My pleasure. It was fun. A lot of effort
We
went
need to
into
get
it.
out.
I had the time to do it, so.
That was fun.
1977 till
Yeah.
now, that's a pretty good time.
50 years.
Good stuff. It's all about, yeah.
So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Abstained? The motion carries. We now have new bylaws, August 17th, 2023,
We're in
from
the 21st
1977.
century.
Congratulations, everybody.
And why don't we revisit these within the next 60 years?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. All right, next item on the agenda is other business. We have zoning regulation updates, character regs, miscellaneous changes, multifamily housing district, and then the town planners report. So with that being said, how about we do the character one and the zoning regulation updates?
So the character one basically is just taking
Yeah.
the word
The word,
character
right?
and
Yeah.
putting something else in
Mhm.
its place.
Scrubbing it, right?
Scott had a good word. What was it last time?
So a lot of times
what
it
does
just
he
goes
say?
from.
I don't know. You threw something out there like, that's a good word. Can't remember what it was. But okay, yeah.
I'm sorry, Dave, but there was one that we caught, well, Scott caught.
Yeah.
Did we get that one too?
Yes, yes. But that was in the multifamily housing district.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a bunch of these, we just change character to design, characteristics to elements, character to concept, and then we just sort of took it out from the second page. Character, to the character of each district, and just eliminate that.
Yep.
And then they're consistent with the character of the town, just eliminate it.
I mean, not to be that person that comes in the 11th hour, on page, I guess on just the second page, the section is titled General Character. Do we want to leave that in? Do we want to change character there?
Oh, no, that was just my sort of section.
Oh, that was your notes, it's not in the regs?
Yeah, it's not in the regs.
Oh, okay. Then,
Yeah,
totally
I
ignore
sort
what I
of
said.
divided them up into different concepts.
Okay, for
of
your,
character.
I
And
see
there's-
that.
and Dave, just for the record and remind you, this is an exercise based on state statute.
Correct.
Thank you. So the next point for this document is a public hearing for text revision sponsored by the town.
Correct.
Okay.
You know, bulk them. We get through the three and just do them all at once? Or, yeah, right? Is that the idea? Yeah.
So, I mean, this is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, this is straightforward, yeah.
Benign.
Anybody have any concerns, comments, questions regarding the character regulations that is before us that they proposed?
No.
Okay. So I guess we want to do a motion on this, moving forward, correct?
Yeah.
So entertain a motion from the commission to take these regs, take it to the next step for a public hearing
On that
on
second meeting in September.
second meeting September.
21st.
Do we have to submit an application first? Or that? Don't we?
We have to do everything anybody else would do, I don't know.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So the motion is for the, for the, I didn't know
Just
if we
for
needed
us
a
to
motion
move
for the
this
application.
forward. That's all the motion is,
Okay,
within the commission. So we all agree, we vote on, yes, we like what
Gotcha.
we got, let's take it to the next step.
so I make a motion to move forward with the next step in the character regulations amendments to have a application and public hearing?
September 21st.
Close enough, I think. Yep, 21st? 21st.
On September 21st, 2023.
We have a second?
I'll second that.
Awesome. We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion in moving the character changes forward? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Great. Thank you, Dave, for that effort in changing that one. Miscellaneous changes, there's proposed.
Who seconded that?
I did.
Bill did.
Bill?
Yep.
So the 24.4.5, I just got in trouble with this regulation in Short Beach. Required setback, the way it reads now, required setback distances shall not apply to fences or walls 6 feet or less in height, nor to necessary retaining walls. So I had a lady who built a huge patio in front of her house that went all the way to the sides of her lot. Didn't set back at all. And she claimed that it was a necessary retaining wall because there was a big hill in front of her house. or to unroofed terraces. So it was also, she said, a nice terrace. So it was a necessary retaining wall to have a nice unroofed terrace, expanded all the way to her property lines.
Yeah. Wow.
And so I sent her a cease and desist order, and we had many hearings, and we went to the ZBA, and the ZBA upheld her definition of this regulation. So it doesn't make any, what's a necessary retaining wall? So the proposed change would be the required setback distance shall not apply to fences or walls 6 feet or less in height, nor to retaining walls and garden walls 3 feet or less in height, but no fence or wall should be located within the right-of-way of any street. So that seems to make it a little clearer to me that you could have a little garden wall in the setback area that's only 3 feet high.
Doesn't that read that you can,
Yeah, you can have
can
it in
do
a
it then.
setback area.
you could just go to the edge with a retaining wall, necessary or not necessary?
Yeah, but it's a little 3-foot garden wall.
Right.
The required setback distances shall not apply to fences or walls 6 feet or less in height. Shall not apply, nor to retaining walls. So the setbacks don't apply to retaining walls.
Retaining walls and garden walls 3 feet or less in height.
3 feet or less.
So it's fences 6
Retaining
feet or
walls
lower.
And garden walls 3 feet or less, okay.
So the 3 feet or less go with retaining walls and garden walls?
Yes.
So you have a
And-
3-foot retaining wall, you can go to the edge, no setback.
No setback.
Okay, that's the intent, where you're trying to get, okay, good. I kind of misunderstood what your
So
example.
a garden wall, I was thinking of all the New England type stone walls you see everywhere. That is like the property line. Dave, is it necessary to have definitions to aid in understanding what is meant to avoid the dilemma that you went through?
What a garden wall is.
A garden wall, this says to, apply to fences or walls. What's a wall? If it's not a fence, it's a wall?
That's a good
Holding up
point.
something? I don't.
I mean, I would say, yeah, either define it or at least, sometimes when you define it,
Or-
sometimes less is more.
Yeah, or,
Because you can think of those walls of the big estate,
I agree, like, what is a wall?
Right.
you know, that's surrounding it.
Walls,
Rather than
that's
having a
true.
fence, they have like a huge wall.
Yeah. Security wall.
Yeah, it's not a retaining wall, it's just a wall like a fence.
Right. So I could build a fortress around my house 6 feet or less
As long as it's not,
and put it right on.
yeah.
As
The
long
line.
as it's not holding dirt back.
Dirt back, okay. Okay,
all right,
Okay.
gotcha. So were you gonna add definitions somewhere in our,
Yeah, let's add some definitions.
just to clarify, so you're not
Yeah.
faced with this again?
People always find something.
I know.
Right, like if,
I'm not opposed to it. At some point, I don't even know if this would be applicable. It's just, you could start defining everything, you know? There's so many things that are, maybe those are relevant. We have to be careful in defining things, because
So that,
you could probably go to this document and find a whole bunch of things that should be,
What's the residential districts?
Yeah.
registered
And then
trailer.
whenever you
Well, I
define,
guess, I mean,
somebody will be
that's
like, well, you
trailer
didn't
one.
say it was this, so therefore I can do
I
it.
think, well, I don't, because I think that's probably appropriate. I just
I agree, I don't know
think
what
we
a
should
wall
just
is
be
either, but.
careful, you know,
so the
open stuff up.
44.6.1, if you look at the F, the last
F,
paragraph.
C, D.
The residential accessory building footprint shall be no more than 50% of the principal residential building footprint on the lot, and shall not exceed a maximum building size of 1,000 square feet of floor area on any lot 50,000 square feet or larger. So if you have a lot that's less than 50,000 square feet, you can't do anything. Is that the way I read it? So not exceed 1,000 square feet on any lot 50,000 square feet or larger. So maybe if it's less than 50,000 square feet, you can build any size you want. Why does it say 50,000? Who cares about 50,000 square feet?
Yeah. I agree, I would say less than, what do you,
Maximum building
what's,
size, 1,000 square feet of floor area.
Trying to limit the size of an accessory building if you have a couple acres?
yeah, like you can't go huge because you have a huge amount of land. Yeah.
I don't know.
But what's,
Is a garage an
what's an
accessory building?
accessory building in a residential zone? It's not an accessory dwelling unit, it could be what, like a shed?
Shed.
Shed, a
Oh.
barn, a garage.
Barn,
Office,
office.
detached office or something?
Well, what do we
You
have on the
can't have
flip
an
side?
office in the-
Yeah.
Shouldn't have an office in an accessory building. But you can have like an art studio.
Yeah, Art Street, yeah. Like a glorified shed.
So
It's trying to make, so you can't put these on an R40 lot, right?
well, basically, yeah, but
That's what this is saying, I'm saying,
Yeah,
right?
but that's like, I mean, what are we doing saying you can't have a garage?
Yeah, no, I know, yeah.
A lot,
Mhm.
it's like,
Do we have anything on the flip side? Do we have anything in our regs that say what is the maximum?
this has been interpreted for years that you can't have accessory buildings over 1,000 square feet. That's the way it's been
On any lot size?
on any lot size
Oh.
unless you're on a farm.
I didn't know if there was something on the flip side, like, 49,999 and under, you could have 500.
No, you can't
I
have
didn't know
more
if there
than
was-
1,000 square feet, and
no
you know
matter
what?
what size.
It goes to the ZBA 3 or 4 or 5 times a year. So if
Already.
it's going to the ZBA that often, you ought to change the regulation.
And those people,
Branford has a limit of, I think, 800 square feet, but the commission can give a special exception when you feel like it.
So
If
the
they
people-
meet the
oh.
conditions, if it's okay.
so the people going to ZBA have less than 50,000 square feet?
Yes.
It's been interpreted 1,000 square feet unless you're on a farm. Nobody's
Oh.
ever paid attention to that 50,000 square feet because we don't really know what it means.
Oh, it means less than 50,000 square feet.
So people are going to
Not
the
more than-
ZBA to exceed 1,000 square feet, or to
Correct.
just,
Yeah.
and ZBA has saying they can exceed 1,000 square feet?
Usually, yeah.
But isn't ZBA supposed to uphold our regs?
No,
No.
you're supposed to vary it.
Yeah.
But if they're allowed to exceed 1,000 square feet, they're breaking our regs.
Mm-hmm. But they have a variance to the ZBA. That's what ZBA does.
But to
If
get
they
a variance
meet
from,
conditions, right?
what,
If they meet certain conditions.
we need a hardship. None
Hardship,
of these
yeah.
people have hardship,
Yeah.
so.
So what,
They
Hardship
have a-
is they
So
just
it's
want
like-
They have
a
a
garage.
57 Corvette they need to keep dry.
Yeah.
That's a hardship.
right, so what Dave's proposing is that he take it out of the ZBA and put it on us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's basically what he's saying, because the last, the revision is any accessory structure exceeding 1,000 square feet.
Oh, I didn't read to that.
Yeah.
If not
Because that's what I was gonna
farm,
say, what are we doing about
comes
that?
to
Like,
us.
if we say don't exceed it, but everyone, ZBA keeps not upholding it, what's the point of having the reg in anyway?
Right.
But I didn't read on, my bad. I got, yeah, I agree.
That makes sense, Dave. Put it in our hands instead of theirs.
Is there any,
But it's just insane to put that because ZBA's philosophically and not in theory, in all actuality, are supposed to uphold the regs. So it's interesting we have to put that in.
we have to uphold our regs unless there's a statement like that.
No, but
And
the
we don't have flexibility with it. That's why it has to go to ZBA, because if they can demonstrate hardship and other things, then the ZBA can grant it.
I know, but as,
We can't say, oh, yeah, you're, yeah.
no, but as we all know, it's very, when you look at the true definition of hardship on ZBA and the trainings I've gone to, it's very difficult to meet a hardship. But often, whatever happens, but just again, the trainings I've gone to, it's like it should be the rare occasion our regs aren't upheld versus the more often occasion. But yeah, if that's what we have to put to prevent it, I support that.
Yeah, and typically if they're going to the ZBA and they're getting the variances, the illegal variances, I agree with you.
Yeah,
we should change our there's something wrong with our regulations if that's what's happening.
Well, depends on the situation. Could be something wrong with them, or they are fine, but they're just not being met. It depends on the situation. Like, what was that reg we changed? We don't need to go into it, we could just vote on, or whatever we have to do. I forget a reg we changed, somebody came up with the data of the number of times people went to ZBA, and remember all those data sheets we had? Carried like the number of times, I forget what it was. And it did make sense to change, there was a certain square footage we had to change, because like
Oh, that, yeah, yeah.
15 out of 20.
Yeah, yeah, that was for the accessory dwelling.
This is the
That was
same.
Was it
a,
the accessory?
that was a accessory dwelling, right? Yeah, that was an accessory
Yeah, I
dwelling.
agree, like, you can't
Yeah.
go build something
That's what it
2,000
was.
square feet. 'Cause
Yeah.
you couldn't have it.
So I thought, you know, on the first page, letter C under 44.6.1, residential districts, can't have more than one commercial vehicle, 1.5 tons capacity. It's interesting how the typo falls in something that you have to read and you're now like, oh, really? I didn't
Oh,
know that.
yeah.
Right, because actually, here's another one
But
on
then
that, on the D section,
The D section,
where it
correct.
talks about boats.
I agree.
Accessory uses may include outdoor dry storage of one boat exceeding 14 feet in length.
So you can have a really
Typos.
big yacht
You
on
can't have
your,
any
Cause that darn comma could cause
just missing one
so
word.
many problems.
But that's
The other
interesting.
thing,
Wow.
having owned a boat, and when the slip owner came and said, because I had a 16-foot boat, said, no, you have an 18 because your motor sticks out. I said, no, I have a 16-foot, and they charge you for 18.
Ooh.
I'm sure we won't get into that. It's a 14 what the boat is, not where the engine is.
So I propose changing it to say accessory use may include outside dry storage of one boat not exceeding
Yeah.
14 feet, right?
Yeah.
Is that a reasonable length? Now that
That's
now that you brought it
that's
up,
a little, that's a little like
That's a good
Quantapug boat with a little 20 horsepower on it. I mean, that's all a 14 is. It's not, even the smallest ones you can take out in the ocean is a 16. 14 small, but I don't know. I don't know where we got 14 from.
Good point. So if he's gonna change the knot, do we wanna increase the size of the boat size?
I know it depends on what we want, yeah.
Quick question, back to,
So what,
go.
I'm sorry, so no one can keep a boat on their lot?
Correct.
Pretty much,
So it's-
except for really small ones?
For like a canoe or a rowboat
Yeah, okay.
So,
dinghy or.
Because that's, well, you know, grew up in Branford, it's everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Probably here too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out big boats.
so Dave, to clarify, residential districts, that's all R40 neighborhoods? It's not
R80,
I don't know what that residential district defined.
Probably
R40
R40,
already.
R80.
R40, okay, so anywhere, we can have a boat 14 feet or longer.
Well, now it's 14 feet or less.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
14
less
feet
than-
or less, that's right.
Yeah, so you can have, that's
How
the
long
biggest
is a
you can.
canoe?
What's the difference?
Like if it's single or
12?
double.
Yeah, maybe 12 or 10. Yeah, that's a double, probably at 12, yeah.
What's the difference between a boat and an RV? Guy parks his RV that's 30 feet
I wouldn't want
long.
to take an RV into the ocean, but
Well, I'm just saying.
other than that.
They're practically the same.
I agree
You
with
can throw them in the
Yeah,
ocean.
that's right. I don't know. I don't.
It's not a bad point. What
I
is the
don't know
difference
what-
between an RV and a boat,
mean, is this-
It's
seriously?
the size, I'm
Are
just
we-
talking size, not its
No,
use.
but like, why couldn't I have a longer boat when people have
One floats, one
Let's put
sinks.
that one on our, for
Put that in the
Yeah.
definition.
compare and contrast the RV regulation with the boat regulation.
Yeah, because
Yeah, that's a good idea.
because
Yeah, you
like,
can have a-
if I had a big boat, but I couldn't put on my
Yeah,
land,
I-
but my neighbor has a large RV that's bigger than my boat, why can't I keep my boat on?
Just
That's
saying.
a great point.
It's hard to find, if you have a massive boat, you probably have it on a boatyard. I mean, if you have a 20-footer, you're keeping that at your house, you're not keeping that anywhere else.
If you-
My 16-footer, I wouldn't keep it anywhere but my house, I couldn't afford it. 16's not a big boat either.
Quick question back to F. Any accessory structure exceeding 1,000 square feet, if not in a farm, requires special exception approval from us. Do we have a process or paperwork for special exception? Oh, okay, I didn't know that. All right. Or I
I don't
didn't know
have
if
a
it was
boat,
just
by the
like,
way.
hey.
for the record, I don't have a vote now. I'm not saying that because I have a vote. I no longer have a vote. I've had a vote for 15 years. I've not had a vote for 15 years. I'm not getting a vote. I don't have a vote.
Okay, so we like that, Dave. We like F. That's looking good. We'll look into D.
Current change.
For the
Floor plan, floor area.
6.15, there is no compliance with minimum floor areas anymore.
Another regulation from the state of Connecticut.
And then at the end of that, it says, measurements of floor area for any dwelling or dwelling unit shall be taken from the floor area, period. And it should be saying, should be taken from the inside surfaces of exterior walls or partitions enclosing the floor area. It's just missing.
Yeah, makes sense. Yep. Good. Good one.
And then line 11, from the Schedule B should be eliminated because that's the size of dwelling units. And then 24.6 and 42 are the definitions, and they just need to go away.
All right. So because the state eliminated the minimum floor area, isn't there a minimum floor area anyway?
I'm
gonna say yes.
The building code has minimum floor areas for bedrooms and bathrooms.
Bedrooms, bathrooms, and kitchens, and so on and so forth, right?
Wait, where is that?
In the building code. They just took it out of our regulation, but there's still, everyone's guided by the building code to a bathroom, minimum size for a bathroom is X. Minimum size for a bedroom is X. Kitchen, a galley or kitchen
Gotcha.
such and such has
the minimum.
distances from stoves and
Gotcha.
all those regulations that don't play into this.
Not zoning, it's building
Not
code.
zoning.
Okay.
Right, so it's not overall dwelling size anymore, it's all of the parts inside the dwelling that have the codes.
So they're trying to, push small houses.
I was thinking about that for apartments, right? So there's always a minimum apartment size based on all those regulations anyway, right?
Yep.
Okay. Dave, you're gonna look into D,
Yeah, and compare it to RV.
right?
Yes.
And see what we wanna do with that.
Yep.
Do we wanna have another go-around with this set, or do we wanna,
We're gonna have a
motion on?
There's nothing pressing.
Okay. Unless you wanna do some of the pieces and parts and throw them into one for coming here on the 21st.
All these changes need to be a public hearing as well?
Yes, it's a text revision.
Okay.
I think for me, you just
Why don't we,
stated
yeah.
the D, just to compare and contrast those two.
What?
Just, as we said, the only thing outstanding so far that I've read is just comparing the RV, compare and contrast the boat and RV.
So why don't
Yeah,
we do
that's a
this?
great
Why don't we have a motion based on our discussion, and we'll vote on it, and Dave will move forward. So I'll entertain a motion to look over the proposed zoning regulation changes and move the ball forward on these, so.
Yeah. And
So moved.
We can have,
Yeah.
I forgot to put it out.
Okay, we have a motion, a second.
we need to give Scrog 30 days notice. So that's why we're doing it
Trish present.
30 days out. But we only need like 10 days to advertise it before us, so we can clear these all up at our next meeting.
Okay, gotcha, 10 days. So we're not beholden to 2 notices in the paper?
Yeah, but they're 14 days ahead of the meeting and 11 days ahead of the meeting.
Okay.
We can make it.
Okay.
Can I have what that motion was for?
The motion was to
accept the proposed changes.
accept the proposed changes as discussed for 44.6.1D.
Wait a minute, say that again?
Blah, 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 blah.
It's very clear,
The miscellaneous changes.
4.1D. I think that's what you said, 44.1D.
44.6.1 residential districts.
You're gonna have to say it again, I'm sorry, 4.44.
4.6.1.
Okay.
Residential district number D.
Residential district D, like dog.
Yeah, D, letter D. To be reviewed on the next meeting, and then we'll propose the changes.
To be reviewed at the next meeting?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, do you need a motion for that, just to review it?
Close enough.
Trish made a
I
motion.
thought it was for a public hearing, that's why.
Mace
It was added
made
into the-
motion, Geldenzi second.
I forgot we had the
It
same
was,
moved on.
it was to be incorporated into the character
exactly.
regulations
I like
for
that.
September 20th.
Oh, it's like I'm crazy now.
But it doesn't help her.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my God.
So with that being said, we have one more, but I like the table of the family
Yeah, it's
housing
gonna be a
district.
lot of brain cells.
That's okay with everybody?
I'm glad you're saying that, yeah.
Okay. Dave, do we have anything on the next agenda item? Next meeting is September 7th.
Yeah.
Anything?
Continued public hearing, but.
Continue the public hearing, right, September 7th. Okay. With that being said, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Well, me too, Ron.
See, he's already asleep.
Seeing nothing else on the agenda, I motion we adjourn.
Second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thus concludes the meeting. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So, this goes. I think we need to amend our bylaws and change it to 8:25 adjournments, because we fall apart at that 8:25.
2 hours.
Okay, we still on camera?
No.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
we stop recording.
Stop.